In this video, I'm going to go over some of the tips and tricks for making your lamp in SketchUp. We have a lot of different types of lamps, so I'll try to hit the main points so that you can figure out which parts you need in order to create your lamp. In this example, I've used the example that I used in drawing curved profiles in SketchUp. Please review that video if you want to know how I created this profile shape. The reason I've started with this is I have in my design a slot that goes right across this particular area. I've already scaled this and drawn it so that I know it's the right size, but now I'm going to select it by double clicking and moving it off of the pattern so that I can work with it separately. Notice when I'm moving it, I'm keeping it coplanar by moving it so it's snapping to the red. I'm then going to pull a little guideline using the guideline tool from the edge here to approximately where I want my slot to go. So I'm just going to drop it kind of right there. I'm going to start my slot design in this area. Thickness of our material is 1/8 of an inch. So if this is going to be the middle of the slot, then I'm going to pull 1/16 to each side. To do that, I'm going to pull from the center on the red square and type in 1/16 and then quotes for inches from the middle up, and I'm going to do the same pulling from the middle down on the other side. So 1/16 quotes for inches, and now I should have a slot area, if I combine both of these, that is 1/8 of an inch. To show you, I can just kind of use my dimension tool here, and you can see that that slot opening is 1/8 of an inch. Now I just have to decide how far back I want that to go. I can pull from this edge here so that I know it is parallel and coplanar. If I drop this here and then pull again, I might make that about 3/4 of an inch this direction. So now I can just take the pencil tool, and remember, when you go to the intersection to draw, you want to make sure you get that X. If you see something else, then it might not mean that you're right at that intersection. So I'm just going to pull and drag along the red, then pull down along the green and bring it back. And here you might see I didn't get the X because SketchUp was connecting me to this point, but I really need it to go all the way to the edge, so I have to go beyond the X in that case. And then all I do is I just click away this center line, and now I have my slot. The other thing about curved objects is when you go to pull them up, and our material thickness is 1/8 of an inch. So you can see here it's smooth, but it's smooth because I welded the edges first. You want to select the edges, so these parts here and also these areas. You want to make sure that the whole outline is blue. And I'm going to click here as well. Put your cursor over the blue edge, right click, and you're going to say weld edges. What that does is it makes it so that when you go to add dimension to this and you pull it up 1/8 of an inch, that everything is very smooth. You don't see any lines here along the edges. Don't pull up your profiles until the very last part when you go to assemble it. If you're putting a profile around a circle, the largest diameter you can make is 11 inches. When we're drawing circles, we're actually drawing a radius, so it's half the diameter. So let's say I wanted to make this lamp the full 11-inch diameter. What that means is when I go to draw my circle, I'm actually drawing 5.5 inches radius, which is half of 11. So I'm going to click and I'm going to pull away, and then I'm going to type in 5 space 1/2 and then quotes for inches. When you see this, you'll probably notice that this edge is kind of jagged. In order to make that smoother, right after you type in the dimension, you're going to type in 60S and then click enter. And that will smooth out your circle because now you have 60 sides making that circle instead of the default, which I think is 32. So you've doubled that and now it's smoother. To find the center, you're going to click the space bar and just select the outer edge of the circle. Then right click and in the context window here, go down to Find Center. And that will automatically find the center of the circle. This also works for octagons and squares or anything that's based off of a circle and sides. Now we're going to need to draw the hole for where the light socket's going to go. To do that, you're going to use the circle tool again. And this time, our light socket diameter is 1 5/8 of an inch. So half of that, the radius, is 13/16. So I'm going to click from the center, pull out, and type in 13/16 inches and click enter. If you want to check that, you can take the dimensions tool and just double check your radiuses. So you can click on one side and click to the other. And here you can see I have an 11-inch circle. And you can also have a smaller circle, but this is just the largest you could have. And then my inner circle is 1 5/8 because when we use the circle tool, we are typing in the radius, which is half of a diameter. And if you haven't had geometry yet, then you might not know that. So then I'm going to erase that so that I can clearly see the hole and I can still see that center location. Next, I'm going to work on how to do my slots that I'm going to use to put my profile in. Remember that the entire circumference of a circle is 360 degrees. What we're going to do is start off using the protractor tool, which is right underneath the tape measure tool. We're going to click that, and we're just going to pull out the arm so it's either lining up with the green or the red to start. Click the arm and then pull it so that it either snaps to green or continue it around till it snaps to red. And then that gives us a place to kind of start with figuring out the degrees that we're going to need. So let's say I can get maybe 12 of these profiles around this shape. So what I have to do is I need to open up my calculator tool. If I want 12, I have to divide 360 degrees divided by 12 to get the degrees that are necessary for that angle. And in this case, it's 30. Using this line, I'm going to measure my slot width. So just like I did over on the profile to the left, I'm going to take my tape measure tool and I'm going to pull that line over on the green axis, and I'm going to type in 1/16 of an inch this direction. Now, of course, this is big, so you might have to zoom in. And then I'm going to go over and pull it down the other direction, 1/16 of an inch. And so the total here is then 1/8 of an inch slot, which will match up with my 1/8 of an inch slot over here, and also match the thickness of the material, which is 1/8. Now, how do you find the inner part? Well, that's actually kind of easy. We're going to use the offset tool here. Now, if you remember, I pulled this 3/4 of an inch back. This slot is 3/4 of an inch from the edge to where the end of the slot is. So I'm going to do the same thing here. And I'm going to pull this using the offset tool. I'm going to pull it from the edge and I'm going to type in 3/4 of an inch. Just like that. This gives me the back edge of my slot. Now again, I'm going to take my pencil tool or my line tool and I'm going to draw, and notice that I'm zooming in on this. I'm going to draw where it says the intersection there all the way down to the back here. And then, and because it's a straight line and connecting, it won't continue. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm coming in there. And now I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to delete this outer edge. And what you'll see is it'll just leave that slot there. Remember that we want 12 slots and that we have to move that slot 30 degrees around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select just the lines for the slot. And I'm holding the shift key to do this. When you hold the shift key, you get this plus and minus. I'm going to hold these. And I'm just selecting these lines that make up the slot. Then I'm going to slide back a little bit. And I'm going to use the rotate tool, which is underneath the move tool. And I'm going to start my move by placing my cursor over that center point here. And then I'm going to pull the arm up. I'm going to zoom in for this because I want to make sure that I'm in the middle of this slot. And I can see right there, I'm in the middle. I'm going to click. And then I'm going to use the Option key to pull a copy. So hopefully you can see this. And I'm going to pull that copy, and you'll notice down at the lower right-hand side, right down here, if I pull that copy over, I'm going to type in 30 degrees for my angle. And I'm going to hit Enter. Next, because I've made this move, I'm going to tell SketchUp that I want it to do this 11 more times because remember I wanted a total of 12. I've already moved one. So now, right after I type in 30, I'm going to type in X11. And you can see it down there in the corner. And then I'm going to hit Enter. And now, if you zoom back, you can see that all the slots have been created for all 12 of those areas. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to delete the slots at the top edge so that they're open. And basically what I have here is the beginning for what I need to put together my lamp. In the assignment, or where I ask you to just do the layout, you should be all set at this point to turn in that layout, unless you've got other pieces that you want to include. You can also delete the guidelines at this point if you want to. So here I have my profile and my circle.